What's it like renting a Tesla? We rented a Tesla 3 for a week in England. I'm going to tell you how it went for us, what I was worried about, would we do it again, and would I buy one after this trial? Okay, we're Kiwi Wanderers. We're currently having a bit of a wander around England and Europe, actually on a cruise boat in the Mediterranean at the moment. Yes, I know, it's a hard life. Anyway, while we're in England, we rented a Tesla for 5 days. Now, Sandy wasn't happy about renting it because it's quite a bit more expensive, but in my usual persuasive way, I managed to convince her it was a good idea. But I did have a few reservations. Number one was the cost. It's about 200 New Zealand dollars more expensive for a week's rental compared to a similar petrol or diesel vehicle. But what did surprise me is how economical it was. I mean, I know electric cars are supposed to be cheap to run, but we did very close to 1,000 kilometres. We spent $84 on fuel, and in England fuel is $3.40 New Zealand dollars a litre. So that's equivalent of about 24 litres of fuel for 1,000 kilometres, or 113 miles per gallon. So I reckon I've offset some of that extra cost of the rental with the lower cost of fuel. So overall, yeah, cost was not too bad. Now, I was a little bit worried about running out of fuel because there's not a refueling station on every corner like there is for petrol and diesel vehicles. This is called range anxiety. But we managed to travel everywhere without any real dramas. The Tesla screen, of course, shows all the nearby charging stations and gives you directions to those charging stations, of course. We also had an app that our British friends recommended that showed where all the non-Tesla stations were. The one thing I will say, not all charging stations are the same. There was a charge point in Portland, close to where we were staying, and we had to leave the Tesla charging for 7 hours to get close to a full charge. But if you go to a Tesla charge point, 15 to 20 minutes, and you have 80% charge. So what I'm saying is the amount of charge you get's not always the same. Talking about charging, I liked the little extra stuff that Tesla had, like when you offer up the charger to the Tesla fuel flap, it opens, and when you disconnect, it closes. Very cool. So, in England, I shouldn't have worried about range anxiety. There are plenty of charging points, and not once do we arrive to a charging point and there was no spaces for us. Next thing was, could I drive it? Now, not too worried here because I've yet to find a car I couldn't drive, and after about 15 minutes driving the Tesla, I loved it. It's a bit different from most cars as there are no buttons on the dash and everything's on a big screen, and there are only 2 levers, one for gear change and one for indicators. So why did I love it? Well, the big screen is great. Did take a bit of getting used to, but we both loved the huge GPS screen, and I love the camera quality on the side cameras when indicating. Real safety thing, having a really good view of what's in your blind spot when you indicate. Oh, and the auto drive, wow. So here's a little video of me using the auto drive for the first time.
What are you doing, Greg?
Well, I'm driving the Tesla.
But you haven't got your hands on the steering wheel.
No. Oh, it's beeping to me. Not sure what's going on there.
So we're on the M3 motorway.
Yes.
And
Yeah. Oh, wants me to put my hands
so
back
I'm going
on
to
the
put your
wheel.
hands on now.
Yeah.
Okay. Bizarro.
It's a bit freaky letting go of the steering wheel at 70 miles an hour, but it really was faultless, and even worked when we're in traffic in this stop starting type thing. You just let the car do its thing and you could read a book if you wanted to, but I didn't because I'm not that good at reading. So anyway, it does have a safety system when you're in auto drive. You need to touch the steering wheel when prompted, and if you don't do it 3 times in a row, then auto drive is disabled for the rest of your trip. Great tech. The other thing I quite liked about driving after I've had a Ranger for 2 years is the power. Sandy was impressed too. Watch this.
Okay, so these Teslas are pretty good on acceleration. I'll show
Yep.
you how, okay?
Okay.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, shit. That was pretty fast.
This thing flies. Like most electric cars, it's very fast off the line with a 0 to 60 time of 5.8 seconds, which is comparable with a V8 Commodore. I see the four-wheel drive Teslas have a 0 to 60 time in the 3-second mark. Wow, very quick. And they list its top speed at 140 miles an hour, but we didn't test that. We may have got to 100 miles an hour on the motorway in England, but I would be silly to tell you that on YouTube, so I won't. Now the brakes. Well, you don't really use the brakes as the electric motors slow the car down when you take your foot off the throttle. This takes a bit of getting used to, but as the car slows down, the motors put charge back into the batteries. On one large downhill section, we charged our batteries by about 2%, believe it or not. That's 12 kilometres extra range. Pretty cool. But not good for automotive workshops, as they will never have to change brake pads. Oh, sorry. That's the mechanic in me speaking. Anyway, regenerative braking is cool once you get used to it. There was some other cool stuff, like we needed a place to put our phones while driving, and the Tesla has just the thing, and it's wirelessly charging the phones. This is just a simple thing, and I'm pretty sure that lots of manufacturers offer this now. So, yeah, so they should. I mean, if you have a car, you probably have a phone. Other things I liked were the door handles. You have a very sleek, streamlined door handle that you normally only see on exotic supercars and Range Rovers. And to unlock, you use your card, tap the pillar, and away you go. Also have a button to push on inside the door to get out of the car, which is a bit different, but once you're used to it, very easy. Locking the Tesla is also very easy. You can set it up so you walk away from the vehicle and it locks the doors, brings the mirrors in, and powers down the vehicle. Now I understand if this wasn't a rental, I could use my phone to lock and unlock it from remotely. That would suit me, as I'm not that good with keys and stuff. Also, if the phone is connected, then you can get the heater or aircon to start before you get in the car, which we could have used a couple of times as the weather was surprisingly hot most of the time we were in England. Now this car is entertaining. So on the screen you can watch Netflix and listen to Spotify, which is all good and available on a lot of cars. But the Tesla, believe it or not, you can make a fart noise when you hit the horn. And it can perform its own light show. I know, all a bit gimmicky, but it's the sort of stuff that makes this car different and in a way likeable. Overall, I really like the tech in the car, easy to use, and I would have one tomorrow if it would tow our caravan, but the tow rating is only 1,000 kgs, so I guess my Tesla experience will be only the occasional rental. Hey, thanks everyone for watching. Got lots of good videos coming up, hopefully, when we get back to New Zealand, so we'll see you out there.
Tonight we're running on the right track.